We are back live on the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here, producer Aiden behind the scenes for today's show. We'll take you through all the latest on the Dallas Cowboys. We've got news, rumors. We'll talk draft a little bit too. Mel Kiper putting out his big board. I'll mention some names I think could make some sense for the Cowboys. And we'll have a preview of the Commanders as well. Commanders game as well. So with that in mind, who you got? D for Dallas, W for Washington, because we can't do C's because that's the same thing. DAL for the Cowboys, W for Washington. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. 90% voting in favor of the Cowboys, so still pretty high numbers on that side as the Cowboys are not as big of underdogs as you might otherwise suspect. 1.5 is all that line is in favor of Washington. I find that very interesting. From Jimmy Jackson Thomas, a $5 super chat. Just says, get them Cowboys. I appreciate that, Jimmy. Thank you very much. That is an additional entry into signed jersey raffle this weekend. It's a little bit different. Chance to be Darren Woodson or Michael Irvin. But we'll break down how that could potentially happen later on this week during the game itself. Any super chat is a shout out here on the Cowboys Report. $5 gets you a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot. And $100 is a beer bong. No one's done the midweek beer bong, but you are still eligible for the Cowboys Report helmet as well. So that is the super chat menu on today's show. We have another $5 super chat coming in from Abjit Pawar. He says, why did Shoddy coach scared on the last drive? Should the offense stay aggressive and not coach scared? Absolutely. The one trend, I have this written down. Hold on. I don't know if I saved it or not. It was a great next-gen stats. Opening drives. The Cowboys have recorded the 4th lowest success rate, despite averaging the 7th most yards per play. They've gone run heavy on their opening drives. They have the 4th lowest pass rate. And they end up having a league-low 23 opening drive plays. On their other drives, they're 6th in success rate and 8th highest in passing rate. So the opening script is a little bit run-heavy. I thought that game planning and that drive, because I went back and watched, I'm like, it's not always easy to tell in the moment from the broadcast. They're like, okay, what are they doing? Like, first one was obviously a screen. Third one was the obviously designed check down swing pass with a lead blocker. That was pretty much the same play call on second down. Because, yeah, Dak looks over the middle, but he quickly gets to the secondary route. There's also someone kind of sitting on it. But he quickly goes down to the check down, too, which I don't even know if it was a design. It might not have been a design check down, essentially. So I am of the belief that, that was a weird decision. And one that, frankly, just didn't make any sense. From Moochie, $5. Appreciate that, Moochie. Thank you very much. Roman Wolf Gaming says, hear me out. Penn State coach as DC. The defense was good. If you mean James Franklin, no. James Franklin is actually an offensive guy. He's never really been a top-end. He's never been an offensive guy, but I think he's going to go get a head coaching job somewhere else, whether it's this year or later. Jim Knowles has been a long-time defensive coordinator. I think it's suspicious Ohio State's defense looks better once he leaves. He's also only been a college guy, and that is a personality that didn't always get along well with his coworkers and players at his college job. I don't think it would actually go very well in college. So I'm basically ignoring the Penn State coaching staff as it relates to the defensive coordinator options. But fair question, so at least bring up. Abjapawar, crazy idea. Big Mike for DC. Do you mean Mike McCarthy? Because that's a hell no. McCarthy is an offensive guy, and he clearly wants to be a head coach. Again, this is also why I'm not that interested in Rex Ryan. We'll do Bill Belichick talk, I'm sure, at some point. I know Colin, I've not listened to it yet. I know Cowherd mentioned it. I don't know if I want a defensive coordinator who I think has the threat of causing issues and being divisive and undercutting the head coach. I think Rex Ryan and Bill Belichick both might fit that mold. So, and McCarthy's not is not a defensive guy anyway. Austin Carey, 3 entries. Appreciate that, Austin. What is the timeline coming up on Revel, coming onto the roster, and what will the cornerback room look like when he returns? Would you get Bland to play some nickel now that he's paid? So Bland's been playing some nickel. There have been times that he's played at the nickel spot. They do like Reddy Stewart in there. I do think like there are scenarios which it makes sense for him to go be the nickel corner. And if you do more man, maybe you could have him follow, shadow a bit more there. I don't have a timeline on Savone Revel. It is very clear and has been clear from like early in training camp when he was out there, he was doing stuff, he didn't look good a day, and then he wasn't out there anymore. He very clearly suffered a setback. I don't know what that timeline is. He was out there back with the rehab group today, so that was a step in the right direction, but I don't even think it's a conversation until after the bye. And even then, I don't know. At this point, you have to focus more on 2026, 2027 there, which sucks, but there is no timeline, frankly, which is an answer no one wants to hear, but it's where it is. Gatlin, enjoy this as much as we enjoy your presence, Tom. Dak will shred the Commanders' defense, and this will be the one good game our defense has. 47-24. I would love that. You win 47-24, we're going to have a very fun time on the Cowboys Report. So, thank you, Gatlin. It was a birthday today. Brian Schottenheimer's birthday, by the way, for the Dallas Cowboys. He's the coach we like right now on the Cowboys staff relative to the other side of the ball. So, HBDs in the comment section of today's show. Shout out Brian Schottenheimer for today's birthday. HBD in the comment section of today's show. CeeDee Lamb, barring a setback, by the way, really everybody on your roster, barring a setback, I do think is in line to play. We'll see what the Thursday injury report tells us, but I do think everyone is in line to play this upcoming Thursday. Or Sunday, for the Dallas Cowboys. See what the Thursday injury report has to say there. But appreciate that question. Spam HBDs in the comment section of today's show for the birthday boy in Brian Schottenheimer. Samuel, a $2 super chat. I will be at the game. So excited. Appreciate that, Samuel. I appreciate that. And hopefully you have a good time. Hopefully it's a win. It's certainly not fun if that ends up not being the case for the Dallas Cowboys. But hopefully they get you a win, and it ends up being happy the way we all want it to end up being. And we all get to have some fun here on the Cowboys Report in the process, of course. So thank you, Samuel. Ecuador man AOG says, buyer's remorse, Revel or Jaylen Knoll in the draft. That is Jaylen Knoll, the Texans wide receiver who was taken a couple of picks later. Yeah, Jaylen Knoll's got 5 catches this year. I don't really think there's too much going on in terms of the buyer remorse side. He had a touchdown against the Ravens, cool, last time they were out there, but that was a career high 2 catches for 13 yards for him. So I don't think there's enough like, oh man, Revel looks great. Jacob Parrish has shown some good stuff in Kansas City, in Tampa. In Ecuador, man, I was about to say it too. He meant Noah Williams, the Chiefs corner. I think he's been mostly good. There have been up and down moments for him. Although for the most part, I think he's been one of the better corners the Chiefs have had. The last 2 games, especially last week against the Lions, and look, they won the game, who cares? Maybe it wasn't as good in terms of like the efficiency, but he's not getting beat very much through the air. I do think Noah Williams has been one of the better rookie corners out there in the NFL. I'm not going to write off Savone Revel quite yet just because we haven't seen him get a chance to go play. Like, Williams has not gotten beat very much. I do want that's testament to, like, the other cornerback issues the Chiefs are facing at times. But he's been good. He's been very good. Now, he also hasn't played a lot either. Like, when he's been out there, he's been good. Oh, he means the cornerback from USC. Okay, we're all over the place. I assume Noel. Okay, so hold on. Let me reset here. USC corner was Jalen Smith. That is, okay, so the Texans corner you mean then, right? That's what we're going for there? So Jalen Smith, the Texans corner, again, hasn't played a lot either. So whatever corner it was in beyond Revel. I think Jacob Parrish has done some good stuff at times. But Jalen Smith, Noah Williams, those guys haven't really done that much. You did have another super chat if you want to flash it up there. Handful of snaps there for Jalen Smith. Hasn't gotten beat. I think for a lot of these round 3 corners, it's not just a 1-year play. I do think patience is going to be needed there. And we might have buyer's remorse, or we might call it the steal of the draft. Let's check it again in 2 or 3 years even. Max Finnegan, a.k.a. Max Smash 73, a $10 super chat. He says, hey, Tom, is it me, or do the Cowboys make trades in season only when things are going bad? Cooper and Mingo trade were not doing well. Those 12-5 seasons, the Cowboys didn't make very many trades. So they did do the Michael Bennett trade the 1 year. I'm drawing a blank on 2019, I want to say that was. They obviously last year they did the Jonathan Mingo trade, which I have issues and have had issues with pretty heavily. They did not make a trade. I'm going year by year here. In 2023, back in 2022, they did trade for Hankins in 2022. That was, which ironically, they got a sixth for Jarek, or they sent a sixth for Jarek Bernard Converse, who has hardly played in the NFL. They also got back the pick that became Nathan Thomas in that trade. So that was a very clear win for the Cowboys. 2021, they didn't really do anything. 2020 was the weird year. I think 2020, that was what was the Texans guy that no one had ever heard of? Elianaku they traded a super late 7th round pick for. Which whatever. That was the year they also flipped out Everson Griffin to get the pick that became Quinton Bohanna. Robert Quinn's trade was preseason. They often do the trades when they feel a little bit more desperate. I think that is a valid thing to point out. In general, though, they normally make a move at the deadline. So I wouldn't be shocked if they did that again. Gatlin, another $5 super chat. One more thing. I honestly don't think Matt has been the defense. Watching the games, we might have some really dumb players on back on deep. So I think it is multiple fold depending on what you're looking at. I think your front, especially your linebacker play, I think you've got instinct issues. The linebackers in particular I don't think they know where to go. And this is true of Kenneth Murray. This is true of Shamar James too. I mean, you can do some fun stuff with motion filters on NFL's Next Gen Stats or NFL Pro and get the All-22. Guys, there are plays in which the linebackers are just going the wrong direction. There was one play, and I feel bad picking on James for it because all the linebackers have made the mistakes, but it's there's motion across the formation, and it's a handoff in the middle. There's no fake to the receiver in motion. And Shamar James is just flying over with the receiver, just taking himself out of the play. There's other plays where there's motion and Kenneth Murray just kind of doesn't move. He's just very slow to react. I think the instincts are lacking at times. I think Leofau has decent instincts, but even he just gets taken by the cheese sometimes. I think Jack Sanborn's got better instincts, but he's not the same athletic ability guy. I think it's an issue. So what is your excitement level once Demarvion Overshown returns? And then we can get into the remainder of today's show. 1 to 10 is your scale. And I will say, I don't want to put the expectation on Overshown that he's going to be the exact same guy he was overall, and he's going to be the exact same guy he was before his injury, and he's fixes everything. That's not fair. But we can be excited that you're getting back the guy that was clearly your best linebacker last year. So get those votes in. 1 to 10 is your scale for your excitement level over Demarvion Overshown. Then we'll get to Austin Carey's Super Chat. Then we'll dive in, to today's live Cowboys report. 1 to 10, because you can't say 0. I think everyone's at least at a 1 there. I think that's going to be a big element there. I'm excited for him. I've got optimism for him. I'm not going to presume he's back into peak form. I think that's probably asking too much, but I think he's going to help you. And at minimum, it gives us something that, like, benefits the Cowboys. Austin Carey, $5. We've seen this D play better under a different regime, so I think it's a scheme issue. How many players is he playing worse than last year? I forgot to mention, because I mentioned the front issue was all instinct stuff. The back end is schematic issues. I don't think that you're setting up your players into the type of role that they need to be set up in. Those guys are better in man coverage, so friggin' play man. I think Donovan Wilson is aging. I do think as well, I know we don't like saying it, but you really hurt everybody by trading away your best defensive player. Like, that's just the reality. There's nobody up front that kind of, like, scares you on this defense. Like, there's no one like, yeah, man, we got a game plan around that guy. Kenny Clark and Osa against the pass have been pretty good. I thought they really had issues the last 2 weeks against the run, getting amplified by your linebackers having issues. Like, James Houston's having one of his best years ever, going way back to his early career stuff. But I do think that, like, instead of being like your first best, your second best player, third best player, fourth best player, all those guys now getting bumped up levels has had a negative impact too. Austin was at the Panthers game. First game I've been to in years. Now I'm scared to ever get tickets again. Sorry, Austin. I wish it went better for you, my friend. I truly do. All right, coming up on today's live show, we'll go through some Cowboys news and rumors. I'm going to talk about Sam Williams. I've got frustrations with him that I think need to be addressed. We'll run through Mel Kiper's 2026 NFL Draft Big Board, and we'll look at some of the top guys and how they could be options for the Cowboys with 2 first-round picks. A mailbag, 2 ways to get in on the show. Use hashtag Cowboys, skip the line altogether via Super Chat. And we will run through the Cowboys versus Commanders preview. All coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. Coming up on today's Cowboys Report, we're going to talk about Sam Williams and his self-inflicted social media drama, which does tie into the game itself. Eric Kendricks, if a return is in the cards based on what he posted on social media. And ESPN suggesting a Jaylen Wright trade for the Dallas Cowboys. All that's coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. We are losing, though, this month in our sub-battle against the Commanders report. 396 versus 318. That is this week's numbers. Those are rookie numbers. Let's get them pumped up, catch them before kickoff. Plus, they get multiple videos each and every single day here on the Cowboys Report. Let's dive into Sam Williams. And if you exist online and you're on Twitter, chronically as sometimes I am, you probably saw some of this going on, where he seemed to take offense, dismiss rather aggressively the criticism of his play against Panthers. So it began when Bob Sturm, friend of the show, tweeted out this caption. And he later posted the video. I'm not going to put the video here because the NFL gets mad sometimes, and we're not going to get the channel shut down for a 30-second clip. It says this, you guys have it in red, bottom right or bottom left of your screen there. Sam Williams, who was the base setting edge on the right side, all the way over on the left side, getting pushed out of the screen by a wide receiver. Well, although nobody tagged Sam Williams in this that I saw, he did quote tweet it with the laughing emoji. And boy, he got ratioed on that front. Someone also quote tweeted, "I'm just trying to see what's funny." Sam said that because they don't know what they're talking about. This play is called crack toss, means a blindside hit by to the defensive end by a wide receiver. It was a crack toss play, and this is the pre-snap formation. You'll see Sam Williams lined up, Xavier Legette directly next to him on the right side of the hash. So that is the play to start. What happens here, and I don't know this for certain, I don't think this is supposed to be his design. It's toss, Legette cracks down on the edge, but Williams also jumps inside on the play. And that's something that Sam Williams does a lot. And I don't know for certain if it is designed slants, because Reddy Stewart can also help out as an edge setter there. I don't think that's the case. I think that's actually just, frankly, Sam Williams trying to make a play, and he isn't very successful in doing that. But he goes from inside the right hash as the end on the run side to the farthest Cowboys defender outside of a corner. honestly, he didn't do a good job on the play. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know why this is what bothers me about some of your players. Dude, just log off. Honestly. Like, just don't say anything. Like, I get that there's a crack toss. You got bullied out of the play by a wide receiver who you have like 45 pounds on. Come on. Now, I've got more thoughts on this, but again, like, yeah, it was a crack toss play, and yeah, the receiver blocked out. That's a receiver against a defensive end. That is as embarrassing as Tommy Tremble bowling around Marshawn Kneeland all week. What is your one-word reaction to the Sam Williams drama? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Look, my one word is classic, and it's not a good thing. Clearly, it's classic Cowboys nonsense. Some of the players are a little bit too chronically online. That's why I've taken to putting numbers in tweets and not the names, because I'll never forget Dalton Schultz blocking me for an in-game tweet because he searched his own name. Like, why are we searching our names here, guys? And look, frankly, this is classic Sam Williams. This is who he is and has been over the course of his NFL career. Now, look, that play could have been a design slant inside where he's trying to penetrate and the corner then sets the edge, but the math is not mathing there because then there's two guys on one blocker. So I don't think that was actually the right design to be a slant. I think he was trying he does it a lot, trying to slant underneath blocks, and ends up several times this year completely taking himself out of the play. Sam Williams has more penalties than sacks in his career. He has always been a key penalty boy for the Cowboys. Brother, just log off. Like, just don't tweet. Like, there's no benefits to tweeting. Like, all you're going to do is get the players. But someone was like, oh, he's just rage baiting you. I'm like, why is a player trying to rage bait on Twitter when, like, he also clearly was not because he said he didn't do anything wrong. Like, just log off. Don't tweet. Go play better. That's all you have to do. Oh, that's it. Like, to just laugh off a bad play, like, aha, whatever. Like, do you care? Because I think he does care, but it opens up the door to even have that conversation in the first place. Today's show is made possible by Omaha Steaks. From everyday dinners and effortless entertainment to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks, the world's best steak experience. You guys get an extra $35 off with promo code Cowboys at checkout. Omaha Steaks delivers unrivaled quality and variety. Every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee, and the early Black Friday sale is the perfect time to shop for the best deals. You get the classic favorites assortment. That extra $35 off takes 4 sirloins, 4 pork chops, 4 steak burgers, 4 franks, a package of fries, 4 desserts, the caramel apple tartlets, all for under $100. So save big with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code Cowboys at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. Use promo code Cowboys at checkout. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's go to Eric Kendricks, who did visit with the Ravens, chose to not sign with them. He posted this photo on Instagram a couple of days ago where, hey, what's that down there in the bottom? Well, that just happens to be a prominently displayed Dallas Cowboys helmet. Look, a lot of players often just keep their last team's helmets and train with them, essentially. That's not an uncommon event. But it was clearly displayed. Didn't have to have the Cowboys helmet. I'm sure he's got a Vikings helmet somewhere. He used the Cowboys one. Maybe because it's the most modern one that fits the rules and everything there. But my big takeaway is, okay, he's training. He's working out. He's trying to stay in shape. He's not ready to call it a career. And given the way the linebackers have fared, I think everything should be on the table. I don't think Kendricks helps you a lot long term. I don't know how much he truly has left in the tank. But when you continue to struggle with being in the right spots from your linebacking core, maybe you would benefit a little bit from somebody like Eric Kendricks. At the same time, I do wonder if maybe you just embrace the youth movement and you just ride with Maurice Liufau and Shamar James. And yeah, they're going to have their down moments, but do we really think that Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn in the final years of their deals, in the case of Murray, he was a trade acquisition, Jack was a one-year pickup, they got to be here? Maybe you're better off seeing what kind of depth you have. So would you bring back Eric Kendricks? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Look, I don't know how much he has left in the tank. Instincts I think are still pretty good. The other question that I haven't mentioned yet, does he want to play? The Cowboys tell me to think maybe he just wants a job. Players like $1 million rest of the year too, essentially. Does he want to come back for a bad team? A lot of times when you reach this stage of the career, you don't go, let me go play for a bad team, because then when I also play bad because I don't have the same juice I once did, my career is over. They don't always want to come play for a team that they might view as a non-contender. Now, you are going to get Demarvion Overshown back at some point soon. He continues to trend towards a return. Probably not until after the bye week, but it might be the first game back out of the bye. I am very excited for Overshown's return. You need him. Your linebacking core has been an obvious disaster class this season. I will also say we have to temper and apply the appropriate expectations. Overshown alone is not going to fix this defense. Coming off of the severity of a knee injury that it did, it's impressive he's already working his way back. I think he's ahead of schedule pretty clearly there. But also probably not fair to just assume he's going to be the exact same guy he was in 2024. We said that about 2024 coming off the 2023 injury, and he was, but I do think we have to have some tempered expectations. So I think we can have, I'm not going to overreact to it, and still be excited about Overshown's impending return. What is your excitement level? 1 to 10 is the scale. Some trade talk on today's show. Jaylen Wright has again been mentioned as a trade candidate. This time, Dallas getting linked specifically by ESPN. Dan Graziano had this to say: if Miami decides to trade players before the deadline, it could move on from Jaylen Wright. He was a healthy scratch against the Chargers, seems to have been supplanted by rookie Ollie Gordon, and of course is behind starter Devon Achane. Jeremy Fowler then had this to say: Wright is a player I've had on my radar for that very reason. It's kind of back-to-back at part of their dueling insider article piece. A lot of teams were high on him in the 2024 draft, including Dallas, which has a soft need after the Miles Sanders injury. So would you trade for Jaylen Wright, the former Tennessee running back? T for trade, P for pass. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Now, look, Jaylen Wright has not been very good. We can acknowledge that. He also hasn't been playing this year. He did show some intriguing flashes in years past, and he's very athletic, and he's cheap. And I wanted him quite bad in the 2024 NFL draft. That was the guy I had very high on my radar. That was the guy I wanted to take over Maurice Leofau. Here's my question. Can you buy low and have him for several years? Because Miles Sanders' season is over. You can have Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue and Jaylen Wright. You can give those guys some run at various points over the season. You have him for multiple years under team control. That type of trade, super cheap. I think we're talking mid to late day 3 pick at absolute best. And then under team control and has upside. That is a little bit more in line of, whether it's offense or defense, the type of trade that I think actually makes some sense for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not out on Wright. I hope that he can be better than what we've seen. I think that the athletic traits are there. There's just some development that still needs to happen. So in general, will the Cowboys make a trade by the NFL trade deadline? Make no mistake, defense needs more help. This is not if I had to choose between, offense or defense, I'm obviously going to choose defense, but I don't necessarily have to choose. And day 3 picks, I'm fine with day 3 picks, man. I'm not worried about it. I will happily just flip those around because I can get more via other trades. I can acquire day 3 draft capital fairly easily. It's those premium picks that are a little bit harder to do. Austin Carey, with how Javonte Williams is playing, should we keep him for a few years and develop someone behind him or move on soon? Running backs always make me nervous. Look, there was no interest in Javonte Williams, at least not very much of it, last offseason. So I would keep an eye on, I think you can bring him back pretty cheap. Why not do a 2-year deal? You can do that in the offseason. 2 years, I think 2 years, 10 is in the ballpark. That's doubling Javante's pay. I don't think that's that outlandish. With the way the weird running back market is, I don't think you have to really pay him too much there. I'm down to keep him and develop somebody. I think both of those are extremely plausible scenarios and options and everything else that you can find a way to do. So I'm not. I think both is the simple but valid answer. Super chat menu on today's show. Any super chat is a shout out. A $5 super chat, like Austin Carey just did, gets you into the raffle entry for today's show. $10 is 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot. $100 is a beer bong. And we have a $10 one. Getting your entries in right now from William Cook. I want to believe the Cowboys will beat the Commanders, but that defense makes me think that they can't stop them. I get it. This could be another 30-31 game. It could be another high-scoring affair. That certainly would not surprise me. I think it's weird they're only a 1.5-point dog. I feel like that number should be higher in favor of the Commanders, which gives me some hope a little bit there. I do want to believe. We'll see what Sunday brings. I appreciate the super chat there, William. Coming up on today's Cowboys Report, Mel Kiper dropped his first 2026 NFL Draft Big Board. With the Cowboys not looking great, especially on defense, and having 2 first-round picks, figured we can run through all the names and hit on some of the more notable ones who we can keep an eye out for if you're watching college football on Saturday. Now, if you want more Cowboys draft coverage, if they keep losing, otherwise, we'll do trade deadline stuff, but the more they lose, the more draft coverage we'll do. Like the video for me, please, and thank you. 1-25 on Mel's big board. Teaser, we're not going to mention every player. Quarterback is not in the cards for the Dallas Cowboys. Jeremiah Love is number 2 on Mel's big board. And this was a very popular preseason mock draft pick for the Cowboys. It's Dallas and Chicago, the only ones ever linked to Jeremiah Love. Love has been really good this year. He is an explosive, big play threat. We'll have the same positional value conversation stuff. May not even get to you depending on where you are drafting either. But he's been more involved in the passing game. And I think that has kind of unlocked another level for the Notre Dame offense with how he's deployed. Love's awesome. This is very much different than the Bijan conversation because I think Bijan was a better prospect. But yeah, if he's there, he's probably the best player on your board, but who's to say he's actually going to be there? Fernando Mendoza was number 3. They're not taking a quarterback. Arvell Reese was number 4. And I was really glad to see Mel put him on there. Shout out to our Ohio State guy, Billy Beebe, who was on Arvell Reese. He was hyping up before the text game. Okay, we'll see how good he actually looks. Wow. He has been nothing short of incredible. The things he's able to cover, he's able to run stop, he's able to blitz. He reminds me a lot of times of Jalen Walker out of Georgia, where Walker was really good as a pass rusher, but he wasn't as good necessarily in coverage. Look, the comp is a better version of Jalen Walker. A better version of Jalen Walker is kind of just the guy you traded away. So I would even wonder, you draft Arvell Reese, he might be a pass rusher for you in the same way that you've had some other linebackers who were best as pass rushers come through this team. So I love Arvell Reese. There is a real chance he is the first defender taken as a do-it-all athletic linebacker. Who is your dream Cowboys round 1 pick? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. I think the top 10 isn't loaded with talent, so if you're outside of it, some of those guys might end up going away pretty quickly. But let me know in the comments of today's show. Peter Woods out of Clemson, the defensive tackle. This is that 3 technique, but they played him an edge sometimes. I always thought that was weird and awkward. He hasn't been as effective this year. He has not been, the entire Clemson team has not been as effective, as efficient, as productive. Depending on what you do with Kenny Clark, will infer if you actually need to go add Peter Woods or not. Now, I assume they're going to have George Pickens on the roster, so as good as Mekhi Lemon has been for USC, the wide receiver, we'll pass on that one. The Cowboys hate safeties. Maybe change your mind for Caleb Downs. He is awesome. I already foresee the fact that we're going to do the same Kyle Hamilton stuff because I do think Downs is at his best around the box, but he's good enough. They put him on returns, guys. He's good enough to play deep end safety. They just like him best around the box and being deployed in multiple different ways. The interception this year was mostly a gift. It was right to him, but it was still a pick. He caught it. He is an elite level safety. Those guys don't often go early. So let's say you're picking 12 again this year. I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility because the list of top 10 safeties in the NFL draft are very, very short. Number 8, Jordan Tyson, another wide receiver. He's good. I don't think you need one. I was surprised Mel put Ruben Bain at number 9. And you tank for Tua all those years ago. It's pain for Bain in this year's class. He's got 29 pressures this season. It is one of the highest rates in college football. Go watch the Notre Dame game, like the final couple drives. Him and his teammate were just wrecking it up front. Like, you need a dude now at pass rusher. Ruben Bain, if you could get him, which depends on where you're drafting. I mean, again, we've mentioned like 4 or 5 names in depth. This could go pretty quickly if you don't want a quarterback. Depends on where you're drafted, but he'd be a huge addition to your pass rush. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. You can do stacks on the PrizePicks app. Let's pick up the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So, for example, if you want to go with Jaden Daniels more than passing TDs and rushing yards, or if you want to just throw in passing yards more than as well, you can do it on PrizePicks. You can also follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. That's all part of the new feed tab on PrizePicks. Go download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. With uncertainty around Terrence Steele in particular, we'll mention the tackles. Spencer Fano is the highest-rated tackle for Mel Kiper right now. 3 hurries this year, a little bit high on the penalties. He and his teammate Caleb Lomu are both very good tackles. Fano's played left tackle and right tackle, so there is play the one you think is better at each spot potentiality there. To be fair, you do wonder if you just have to go all defense with those picks. Another good edge is Keldrick Falk, and Ruben Bain also has this type of size where they're above 270 pounds. The Auburn defense deploys him a little bit weird at times, but I think Keldrick Falk and Bain both have the potential to be like 3-down edges. I know that the tackle numbers don't pop for Falk. It's fine. He's been very good in that area as like an overall player. What you were hoping for Marshawn Kneeland was going to be, this I think is actually what Keldrick Falk is, like an actual 3-down defensive end who you don't have to worry about flipping off the field on early downs, rundowns. That might be what the Cowboys could use the most of. Carnell Tate's been awesome this year, but again, wide receiver, not too concerned about it. Jermod McCoy hasn't played this campaign at all for the Tennessee Volunteers, coming off of a torn ACL. Maybe you don't want to hurt guy. He was pretty darn good last year, though. It was about 50% completion rate. Anytime you get in that ballpark, that's good. 6 pass breakups, 4 interceptions. I do want to see him get healthy in return this year. I can't spend my first round pick on a hurt guy. That second first round pick, though, if he's there in the 20s, like that, if he doesn't come back this year, that might be the right risk value. You don't need a tight end. I do like Kenyon Sadiq quite a bit out of Oregon. TJ Parker is next up here, the defensive end out of Clemson, who, again, hasn't been nearly as good this season. The pressure rate has gone down. The TFLs have gone down. The sacks have plummeted. There was conversation going into the year like, hey, could Caleb Downs and Peter Woods and TJ Parker be the first 2 defensive players drafted? maybe one of them does, but I don't think both of them. And Parker, I think in particular, has been a little bit more disappointing. So what draft pick will the Dallas Cowboys end up with? Let me know for their first pick, not where the Packers won, like their own pick. Is it going to be 10, 12, 15? Do they rally for the postseason? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Ty Simpson's been balling for Alabama, but he's a quarterback. Avion Terrell, that is A.J. Terrell's brother, the cornerback out of Clemson, has been maybe a little bit less of a fall off this year. The completion rate isn't necessarily quite what you would prefer that it be, but he's been solid. I do think corner is going to be an area of concern for this Cowboys team. All right, number 18, Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle. This is the other tackle that's in the top 20 on Mel's big board. This is a right tackle, which you might need. He is not named Tyler, which there's one of the top guys whose middle name is Tyler, but I can't remember which one. I have to go back and double check that because I'm just going to pencil him in for the mock draft. But I think he has been a mauler in the run game. He's taken steps forward as a pass protector. There have been some concerns if he's athletic enough to stay at tackle. My thought process is yes, but we'll have to kind of monitor the testing a little bit on that one. Amari Washington next up here, and Washington is a run clogger. That's what he does. He is listed at 6'3", 330 pounds. There isn't much that he really offers in the pass rush side of things, but if you move on from Kenny Clark, potentially, you're going to have a huge hole, at the defensive interior tackle spot. Washington, this would probably be more of your second first-round pick candidate, at least as someone to keep an eye out for. Now, we will have draft coverage, hopefully not much more of it, because the Cowboys keep winning games, and then we don't have to do it. But we'll have it all offseason long at minimum. So hit that sub button if you haven't already at youtube.com/CowboysTV for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. Another edge rusher. This one is a very different style of player than what you get out of Kendrick Falk and Bain. But David Bailey has been unbelievable so far this year as a pass rusher. 8.5 sacks in 6 games played. This is the Stanford transfer. That pressure rate is not a typo. 28.9%, which is unbelievable. That you don't see those types of numbers in college football. Like they do not exist. That level of pressure rate is truly among like the best you will ever see out there. Like Myles Garrett, how good he has been over the course of his collegiate career. His final season at Texas A&M, his pressure rate was just above 16%. Now, David Bailey isn't a run stopper. He is undersized. He has short arms, by the way, but he is not asked to do much against the run, so he gets to tee off against pass rushers. He might be a situational type of pass rusher, like some of like the best version of Bruce Irvin you saw in his time in college or in time in the NFL. But Bailey is very athletic and what are you elite at? Getting after the quarterback. He answers that. All right, Lenore Sellers, you're not going quarterback. I was surprised to see Zachariah Branch so high on Mel's big board. In general, this is a loaded linebacker class. Like we all know this team needs some linebacker help. Good news, there's a lot of good ones. C.J. Allen is one of them. I know Dane Brugler's super high on him. He's gotten better each and every season of his career. He's got multiple forced fumbles, multiple pass breakups, multiple sacks, 5.5 TFLs. I think that Arvell Reese is the best linebacker in this class. I think this is, with the way he's played this year, I think C.J. Allen is the second best. And there's several other guys we'll get to here that I'll shout out in some capacity later on. Jacoby Lane, another wide receiver. It's fine. You don't need one there. And then 25 is Caden Proctor, who could be your Wildcat quarterback. Have you guys seen the stuff that Bama's been doing with Caden Proctor? It's so much fun. I love it. The next pivot, by the way, is that it's a Caden Proctor pass is coming for the Crimson Tide on the goal line. And I cannot wait. He was honestly bad to begin the season, though. He was not good. Since then, he's been much better. Of his pressures allowed this season, half of them came in week 1. He wasn't as good against Missouri, but he's starting to look a little bit more like the upside player that he was supposed to be as a 5-star recruit. Who else should be on the Cowboys draft radar that was not in Mel's top 25 for early round picks? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Other names I'll mention, the other Utah tackle, Caleb Lomu. LT Overton catches Howell has, I think I might have misspoke. Howell has extremely small arms. I don't think Bailey's that big. I think it's Howell is the one. I got to go back and double check and look at my numbers. One of them has like sub 32-inch arms, which is like huge red flag. Overton is like a DE-DT hybrid 5 technique guy. Everyone likes Anthony Hill. I get it. He's super fun, entertaining. I think the depth of this class, guys like Sonny Styles, the other Ohio State linebacker, Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins is kind of a weird hybrid, but he's had a good season. Jacob Rodriguez over at Texas Tech is awesome. There's a lot of linebackers who make sense for potential options there. Mansour Delane also is. I'm a huge fan of his game. The measurables might not fit the Cowboys mold, but he's good at football. Don't overthink it. All right, it's mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. Use hashtag Cowboys or Super Chat to get on the show. Crimson Cowboys says, Roll Tide. Proctor jump pass to Tim Keenan. Is that producer Chris's burner? Because that's what he spent all week talking about. He wants that play to happen. I think you guys are right. I think like that's the Bama has done a good job of like adding stuff to that package of first they ran the receiver screen with Proctor. Then he gets the Wildcat handoff. The next play is Caden Proctor jump pass. Like that is the next variation of it. Because they're going to go, it's a run. And then, you just drop it right over the top of you. That would not surprise me at all. So get your questions in via hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via a Super Chat. This is the Super Chat menu. Get any Super Chat gets you in on the show. $5 gets you a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shotty, and $100 is a beer bong. Several Super Chats, several hashtag Cowboys I've seen. Super thanks to get to. We have room for more. So get them in via hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. From CJ DeYoung III, this is a $5 super thanks. He says, preach, Brother Tom, preach. Thank you. This is in reference to our post-game show when I was very upset with the way the Cowboys defense had fared, which, I think we were all right there. Appreciate that, CJ. If you want in to our weekly raffles, it is a signed throwback player, Cowboys jersey, hint, hint, for this week's game. $5 super thanks or super chat gets you in. Jonathan Kelly, I am so frustrated with the Jones boys. We either have a really good offense or a really good defense, but never both. FJB. As always, FJB in the comments section of today's show. From Tato, opinion. They're doing to Jaden Blue what they did with Deuce. You can't run up the middle of the field 2 times with a guy of his size to do much. 2 plays is not enough to get your legs back under you as a back. I mean, look at Rico. They kept pounding the rock, and he only got better as they kept handing it off. It's a shame they are wasting potential because of impatience. I think part of the Jaden Blue stuff is Javante's their guy. Like, he's the lead guy. He's the one that's going to get the majority of the work. So Blue is just the backup. I do want to see him get more involved on outside runs, on screens. I think, like, Javante has not been very good after the catch as a receiver. He's been a good pass blocker, though, and that stuff does matter. And they typically like to keep the running back in more often than not, just because, well, Blue's not a good pass protector, so if he's out there, you're thinking pass to him. So there are some tells that they want to kind of avoid a little bit. But I do think he just needs more reps. Like, I don't think we should not be doing full-scale evals of, well, this guy's bad based on a handful of carries in which he has almost double the yards after contact as before contact. I completely agree with you. From Jar Jar Binks, first off, not a Sith Lord. All right, that is the fakest story ever. That was not ever the intention. Misused clips. I'm getting off topic here. Are you on? But he was also a terrible character. Are you on board with trading for another back? I'm not opposed to it. If it's the right guy, the right fit, I think there are bigger needs. I think we would all agree with that on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not trading for a rental, though. Like I already have a rental in Javonte Williams, frankly. Like, I don't need to go get another one-year contract guy to help out for a season that doesn't look great right now. Now, if Javonte gets hurt, we can certainly revisit this whole conversation. But I don't want to go out and make a big-time move for a back right now. I don't think that that's good asset management relative to where your window is currently at. So do you think the Cowboys need to go trade for another back? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. From Tyler1023, Eric Kendricks rumors. So Kendricks posted the photo essentially on Instagram of him with the Cowboys helmet. We mentioned that on a previous show. If you check it out on the channel, it's available for you guys about where things sit there. Daniel M., back pushing his Trey Hendrickson agenda. I mean that in a positive way for you, Daniel. Says there's a report out there saying the Niners, Colts, Eagles, and Cowboys have interest in Hendrickson. So I will revisit. We'll do this in depth next week. The timing did not work out with when the report came out and doing the show today. The source isn't good. I'm sorry. Tony Pauline is not a credible source on a lot of stuff, but also the Cowboys. His other report was that the Cowboys were taking Matthew Golden over Teteroa McMillan, and he felt good about that. And then he went back and edited the article after the draft happened. Yeah, we got the timestamps there, bud. The headline was lock, and then it suddenly is, well, now they're pivoting away from a receiver, which wasn't in there originally, and it all changed. Yeah, mentioning defensive tackles. Yeah, okay. I don't find that report credible. I do think that what he's done before is put the Cowboys on articles for clicks. That's what happened. So I will wait until I see a more credible source before I think it's actually going to go down. I think that we get excited because it's Hendrickson and the Cowboys and it's out there, but it doesn't mean his hit rate is honestly pretty bad with the Dallas Cowboys. For everyday dinners and effortless entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. You guys can get an extra $35 off with promo code COWBOYS at checkout. Terms do apply. See site for details. You can get the all-protein pack for under $150, so you're saving way more than 50%. That includes filet mignons, chicken breast, pork chops, steak burgers, sausages, seasoning, and free shipping, by the way, as well for under $150 because you save an extra $35 off with promo code Cowboys. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917, a family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. Save big with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COWBOYS at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply, but terms apply as well. See site for details. That's 50% off and an extra $35 off with promo code COWBOYS at checkout. Matt Temple, and I love this, says, I'm taking a Cowboys flag to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Make sure when you get that photo, make sure you tag me in it because I will retweet that because I think that's a pretty awesome, to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in the first place, but also the Cowboys flag is a cool touch too. William Cook, what is the possibility that the Flus and the defense have made changes to improve? I think that, look, there have been changes. There will be changes. Do they work is another conversation. Are they the right changes? I think at minimum on third downs, it's honestly hard to be worse than what they have been. Like, this team is so bad on third downs that the law of averages almost means they're going to get a little bit luckier at times, and someone's going to make a mistake to bail them out. So I think they will get better, but it's hard to be much worse. And the question is, how much better in the end? From Cookie Monster, can you fix this defense with trades? Maybe a little bit. I have questions. I think you can make it better. You can make it, a top 25 defense. The real question is, can you do it at a cost that makes sense to you? If I start waving around my first round picks, I can go get a better linebacker. I can go get an edge. I can get a safety if I trade my two. And they're better than what I have. Does it make me good enough to be a contender? I'm not so sure. And does it make sense to kind of negatively impact your what could be a very explosive offseason with the cap and picks you have? So I would not go overboard doing that. Should the Cowboys trade for more defensive help? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. $5 from Brady Ballers. Does Kalen Carson returning mean we can finally see Kaiir Elam get sent to Guantanamo Bay? So A, you traded for Kaiir Elam from the Buffalo Bills, with the Bills running a bunch of zone coverage and everyone saying it wasn't a scheme fit for him. So you add him to a bunch of man coverage corners and Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs, and then you run exclusively zone. Why? What are we doing out there? It does not make any sense. That's nonsense. Elam, though, has kind of already been sent to the shadow realm a little bit. He played, I think, 7 or 8 defensive snaps in week 6. His playing time has declined in each of the past 3 games. Now, part of that, I think, was schematics. They wanted to have, Bland on the outside and Diggs on the outside, and there was going to be more run fits from Carolina. Reddy Stewart is better on that front. But I do think that Carson is, if they're going to do zone, I think he's a better fit than Kaiir Elam, frankly. Ecuador Man AOG, Bill Krosky Merritt or Jaden Blue, if you could do it over again. I mean, I think the play of Krosky Merritt has been really good so far this year. So I think, purely based on what they've done, I think it's obviously Krosky Merritt right now. In a redraft, he goes a hell of a lot earlier. And I'm pulling up my notes right now. He was kind of a weird prospect in the first place. I had a 5th/6th round grade on him. So I was higher on him than where he ended up going. He only played 1 game at Arizona. He was awesome in that 1 game. Then there was a bunch of BS from the NCAA of how many games he had played back in 2019, and there was eligibility arguments. He ended up not getting a chance to do it there. I think he's really good. I thought that was he was a very popular, this is a fun sleeper. Wasn't even a combine invite. He was not on many people's radars necessarily compared to Jaden Blue. I'm not going to write off Blue, but yeah, I think Krosky Merritt has clearly been better so far. If you want to be on the Cowboys mailbags in the future, all you have to do is subscribe. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Eddie Joe, $5. Where are the likes? I only see 143. Come on, folks, like the video. If you're still watching and you haven't already, do me a favor and like today's show. From Tyler D, what are the chances we make an impact trade on defense before the deadline? I don't know what they'll do. I think, honestly, check in again in 2 weeks. Let's get through the Commanders game. Let's get through the Broncos game. You win them both, you're probably going to buy. You lose them both, you should not be buying. You split them, who knows what the Cowboys end up doing. So I think let's give it a couple days or a couple weeks, and you don't have to rush into a trade right now. Dr. Doom, how about a Demario Davis trade? If you think you have a chance to win this year, actually win, then yeah, call about him. Although I don't know if he wants to leave the Saints. I think he's happy there. That's an issue. It depends on what he wants to do. But he's cheap. He's an upgrade at linebacker. He clearly makes you better. But, it's probably going to be a day 3 pick, mid to late. So it's reasonable. But, if you lose the next 2 games, don't waste your assets on a season that's lost. At that, I hate saying this, but I said it when the trade happened. When you traded away Micah, you basically kicked the can on this year a little bit. You were never going to be as good on defense. Now, it's been worse than I thought it was going to be, but you were never going to be good enough on defense. I don't want to overuse my assets when I'm setting myself up to be the hype team to an extent of the offense is playing great. It is easier to fix your defense in an offseason, in one offseason, than it is on offense. That's a lot easier. Now, if day 3 picks, I'm never going to cry about trading away day 3 picks. Whatever. I can get those pretty easily. But I don't want to necessarily just jeopardize everything, or give up too much for a year that's just not going in the right path. So name a player who you want the Cowboys to trade for. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Name a player. Keep it realistic, please and thank you. Name a player who you want the Cowboys to trade for. Andrew Wright, Can this defense be fixed with coaching? I know we're not going to trade for anyone. I don't have faith in this current Cowboys coaching staff. Like I don't believe in them. Maybe it changes, and maybe I feel better about it as the year goes on. I hope that's the case. Trust me, I do. But like I don't think there's enough talent in general, and I don't think the coaching staff is good enough either. We're back to the rambling there. Jar Jar was definitely a Sith Lord. No, he wasn't. The crux of that argument was based on a clip of George Lucas saying he's important to us, he's different than what we've had, and but they cut it off. It's because he was the first CGI character, and he was for the kids. That was the rest of the quote. They just it's like, I love my wife, and they cut it off there, but I'm getting a divorce. Okay, well, you left off the half of that actually matters. For clarity, that was a very weird analogy. If my wife sees that, I'm not talking about you, dear. No, stop it. And don't put this in the clip. That just does not belong in the mailbag. We're not putting it in the mailbag. But no, he was not a Sith Lord. Absolutely not. But my buddy Joe likes to troll me with that. He was not. He was just a crappy character. All right, any super chat is a shout out. A $5 super chat gets you a raffle entry into Sunday's raffle. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shoddy, and $100 is a beer bong. That is the super chat menu on today's show. So get them in if you haven't already. We do have Thursday night football tonight. Who you got in this one? B for the Bengals, S for the Steelers. Let's have some water here. Excuse me. Who you got? B for the Bengals, S for the Steelers. News update, by the way. Kirk Cignetti signed an 8-year contract with Indiana today. Yeah. So he ain't leaving for Penn State. That's what that means there. So, what's the details here on this? 8 years. 11.6 on average. Indiana's like, you ain't leaving. All right, who you got? B for the Bengals. It's all Steelers coming in. It's the Old Man Bowl. It's also an AFC North slugfest. Bengals cover. Bengals cover, which is weird with the way they've played, but this is one of those games, Thursday Night Football, it doesn't make a lot of sense. They're calling it the Unk Bowl. I think someone called me Unk today, and I'm like, guys. I think I got to be on the wrong side of 30 before you guys can call me Unk, and then it's fine. Also, I said that they're all just going to start calling me Unk, so it's fine. All right, get your votes in, B or S, Bengals, Steelers. Final preview between the Cowboys and the Commanders coming up on today's show. The most comments on today's video, it's a free signed jersey raffle entry for the Sunday game. Simply spam C so I can see who has the most comments on today's show. I didn't mean to do that. That was a bad pun. I'm sorry. The Cowboys are narrow favorites in what is going to be a high-scoring affair. They project 54.5 is the over-under. Dallas only a 1.5-point dog, which frankly surprised me. It's why I picked the Cowboys to win earlier in the week. Cowboys injury report I want to make note of. Overall, mostly good. Of note, we are filming this on our Thursday live show, so if there's a setback, we'll notate it. Probably A in a short and B in the comment section. But I think all the guys on this list, outside of Ajani Cornelius is going to play anyway, although I think they are setting up for him to be a potential IR candidate. I think all those guys should play. We'll see about, when does Mingo return, coming back from his own injury, if he's activated from the PUP list. Same with Kalen Carson. Both guys are eligible this week. But overall, the Cowboys seem to be pretty healthy. So barring a setback, which we'll know by the time this video goes out on demand, of Lamb and Turpin and Booker, I do think they will play for the Cowboys. The Commanders were filming this after they wrapped up their Thursday practice. Dorrance Armstrong did not participate, trending towards not playing. Chris Rodriguez likely out. Deebo Samuel didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. Terry McLaurin was limited on Wednesday. and then a downgrade to DNP on Thursday. So some notable injuries there for Washington. They might be without some key players. Their number one pass rusher and their top two receivers are very much questionable as we sit here filming this on Thursday. So matchups to watch. Number one, this is the Cowboys defense against motion. Now, how many years now have I said, boy, the Cowboys defense has issues with motion? The answer is yes, every single damn year. Some numbers per NFL's Next Gen Stats. The Commanders use motion on 53.7% of their plays. They are perfectly balanced, as all things should be, on their pass rate. It is 50% pass, 50% run. There literally is not a tell involved there. They are 12th on expected points added. That is, are you moving the ball downfield? 14th on touchdowns, only 23rd in yards per game, but they haven't run as many plays as other teams. They're actually about, 23rd in total plays this year. They're 10th in yards per play with motion. They're not great on passing yards per play with motion. They lead the National Football League with 6.6 yards per play when they use motion on a run. They're actually more efficient on the run than against the pass. That is rather unusual. The Cowboys defense, meanwhile, it's bad. 61.3% motion rate, almost 50-50. They are second to last in EPA per play, second to last in touchdowns involving motion, second to last in yards per game, third to last in yards per play, allowing the most passing yards per play against motion, and 24th in rushing yards per play. When motion happens, the linebackers in particular are lost in the sauce. If I'm the Commanders, I am spamming even more motion plays. You guys see that tornado reverse that they ran? Which is the tornado reverse is you fake left, and then or whichever way. You fake right, you fake left, and you give it back to the right side. Your Corey literally spins. If I were them, I would call that play again. Who you got in this one? D for the Dallas Cowboys, W for the Washington Commanders. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number two matchup to watch. Not just the run defense against Bill Krosky, Merritt, and Jayden Daniels is one of them, but in particular, the run defense when the Commanders come out in 11 personnel. 11 personnel is there's one tight end, one running back. It's 3 receiver sets. This is a great note from NFL's Next Gen Stats. Bill Krosky Merritt has averaged 6.8 yards per carry on 27 carries out of 11 personnel. Second most among backs with at least 20 such carries, trailing only Rico Dowdle, who just kicked your ass last week. The Cowboys defense, meanwhile, has allowed the third highest explosive run rate and second highest success rate when facing design runs out of 11 personnel this season. In Week 6 against the Panthers, they allowed Rico to have 96 yards on 16 carries out of that formation, including 3 carries that gained 10-plus yards. The data we have at our fingertips is incredible these days. If I were the Commanders, I would come out as banged up as they appear to be at wide receiver. I'd do a lot of 11 personnel, and I'd run the ball and see if the Cowboys match me in base, or if I get to throw to a receiver against the linebacker in zone probably, where Jayden Daniels isn't actually as good. Or I get to come out and just run the ball down their throats, because we're back to that mindset for the Cowboys. I did do this before McLaren had his injury apparently regress. I am going to mention Trevon Diggs versus Scary Terry, and we'll see if it's back-to-back years I've done this, and then one of them does not end up playing, because last year I did it, and then Diggs was ruled out after that, which was kind of funny. This has been a great matchup in years past. They haven't played much lately. They haven't played in over a year, by the way. McLaren hit the big, long touchdown against Trevon Diggs the first time that they played together. Overall, in the games they have played per PFF, Trevon Diggs allowing 3 catches on 12 targets. He has 6 pass breakups and a pick. Historically, he's owned Scary Terry. Things have changed. He's removed from several knee injuries. He hasn't been the same guy. McLaurin has an actual quarterback now. And the last 2 games against the Cowboys, McLaurin's kind of had his way against Dallas. 18 for targets on 13 catches, 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is if they both play, which again, we'll see about McLaurin there. This would be like your first real analysis of are they playing man? And if they do, has Diggs, this would be a clear oh, he doesn't have the same stuff anymore. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. You can follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app, copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, a partner, or someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they make in the feed tab on PrizePicks. You can do stacks. Same player up to 3 times. I've got Jayden Daniels more than rushing yards and more than 1.5 passing TDs, plus Javonte Williams touchdown. That's the flex play, so you can get one wrong and still cash out on PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. Number 4, the pass rush against Jayden Daniels. Couple different notes here. Jayden Daniels has not been as good this year. The injuries are a factor, but his completion percentage is down. His rushing numbers are down a little bit. He's been a little bit more bottled up than he has in years past. And I do think the injury is a factor there. But some great numbers here from Next Gen Stats on him scrambling. His scramble rate, which not just scrambling and tucking and running, but scrambling out of the pocket and throwing it. So it isn't just runs. 21.5% he's going to bail on the pocket in some capacity. It's the highest among any quarterback in the NFL. It is a higher rate than it was in his rookie season. When he bails on the pocket, he is more likely to run than throw, which is kind of regressing back to his LSU days. 23 scramble runs, 6 of 9 through the air for 105 yards, a TD. 6.3 yards per carry is a yard 0.3 down from what he was averaging last year. And of those 23 scramble runs he has, only 6 have gone for first down. Last year, it was 79 runs, 35 first downs. That led the NFL, 44.3%. Only Bo Nix has had less success when scrambling for first down runs among QBs at least 10. So we're cutting off the old slow guys that don't do it at all. Daniels isn't as effective in this. That's what killed the Cowboys, though, against Philadelphia, is Jalen Hurts got out of the pocket and was able to get first downs. They have to be better at that this week. Guys like Dante Fowler and Sam Williams and Clowney, they have to actually keep their edges in there. Like they have to set the edge, try to keep him in the pocket. And if they do keep the pocket, they have to find a way to bottle him up. This year, I think it is very clearly Dak Prescott is the better quarterback. Last year was very clearly Jayden Daniels. Overall, who's the better QB? JD for Jayden Daniels, DP for Dak Prescott. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number 5 matchup to watch is the run game against light boxes. And again, not just run games in general. We'll go a little bit more, I don't know about minutia, but a little bit more in depth on this front. Quick couple notes for you. The Commanders use light boxes more than at a top 10 rate in the NFL. They have consistently found ways to try to run the football, or to dare teams to run the football. Light box, by the way, is 7 defenders or fewer. Javonte Williams against light boxes, 4th most yards, 233, is averaging 6.7 yards per carry. He has been extremely efficient in that area. He's averaging 6 yards after contact per attempt on those runs. I bet the Commanders' defensive game plan is let's not let Dak Prescott cook us. They're going to do light boxes. In years past, Cowboys have had issues running the ball against light boxes. They should have success if they're healthier along the offensive line. Number 5 player to watch, Kenny Clark, who, look, he didn't play well last week. He or Osa both did not have their best stuff against Carolina, and it was then amplified by the linebackers having a bad showing. Clark began the year super hot. The last 2 games, frankly, haven't necessarily been his best stuff. I'm looking for a bounce-back game this week from Kenny Clark. I fully expect CeeDee Lamb to return. He was, once again, limited on Thursday's practice, by the way. That he should play. I'd be stunned if he did not play. I bet he gets his first touchdown this week. He's back. Hasn't had one yet this year, which is kind of crazy, but, Pickens has 6. So I expect against the Commanders. Oh, by the way, Commanders defense doesn't move around its corners. Trey Amos and Marshawn Lattimore on the left and right side, respectively, line up there 93% of the time. They stick them. It is not. They're not shadowing. They're not moving around. They're not going to the slot very much. It's you're the left corner. You're the right corner. Who scores the first touchdown for the Cowboys this week? Let me know your predictions in the comment section of today's show. Number 3, and in a way, these top 3 are kind of like you're on the hot seat. Donovan Wilson. Look, man, I need more from you. I think he's been put in a bad spot by playing so much deep safety. It's not a good fit for him. Whatever, it is what it is. But, I need to see more out of Donovan Wilson. Otherwise, I kind of want to see Marquise Bell at this point. Number 2, Terrence Steele. I thought overall, it's a bad Panthers pass rush group. The offensive line did a pretty good job, though, in pass protection. There were very few pressures from against Dak Prescott. I don't think the run blocking was as good. I do think, especially with run blocking, at times, you are only as good as your weakest link. If one guy's having issues, that very much trickles down to the rest of the team. I don't think it's an accident, since Tyler Booker left with an injury, that Terrence Steele's run blocking grades on PFF have gone down. I think it's not as good next to him, and it's kind of coming through. Bass has been serviceable. I thought he was really good in pass protection too, but he's not a mauler in the run game. Hopefully getting Booker back, knock on wood, leads to better stuff from Steele, and he's not a liability in pass protection. We'll be live for the Cowboys-Commanders game. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/Cowboys TV, 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. We will be live hour 45, somewhere in that ballpark beforehand. So hit that sub button so you don't miss out. I'm cheating at number 1, but it's my show. Who cares? All of the linebackers, they're clearly on notice. I want to see how they're deployed. On one hand, I do kind of wonder if the constant shuffling is hurting everybody. But you've got the veterans, Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn, who should be back this week. Murray's athletic, but he's never in the right spot. He's so slow to trigger. I worry about him there. Jack Sanborn's not athletic enough. I've said it for months now. I wish I could put Kenneth Murray's athletic ability with Jack Sanborn's mind. I think that would be a really good linebacker. Shamar James is athletic, but he doesn't know what he's doing yet either. He's still raw. Leafau, I kind of think he should be your middle linebacker. I think he's got better instincts, but the Sam stuff is whatever. No one has played great at linebacker this year. Not a single one. Someone has to do something good this week, or else it's just going to be more of the same on defense. Who you got? D for Dallas, W for the Commanders. 85% voting in favor of the Dallas Cowboys, typing in their Ds. Get those votes in. D for Dallas, W for Washington. We will still be calling them the commies. Don't you guys worry about that. D for Dallas, W for Washington. $10 from Jimmy Jackson Thomas says, duck the Commanders. You guys know what he means. Appreciate that, Jimmy Jackson. 3 entries into the raffle on that front. Last call to get those votes in. D for the Dallas Cowboys, W for Washington. Then, of course, we will vote again when we get to the game itself on Sunday. Still going to have 2 videos each day going forward. Going to keep doing that. We are closer to 231K subs, past the 230K mark. Thank you all so much. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/Cowboys TV.